Hello and welcome. Zoya Akhtar's film Gully Boy has been blowing people's minds. Let me tell you why it blew mine. First, I can't remember the last time that a mainstream Hindi film chose a young Muslim boy living in Dharavi, Asia's biggest slum, as its protagonist. Second, with a great deal of empathy and a very light touch, Gully Boy addresses issues of economic disparity, the rigidness of class today, and just how difficult it is for young people to realize their dreams. And all of this it does by using mainstream devices that create a very satisfying viewing experience and a satisfying outcome. So to map India's heart and mind today, I'm talking to filmmaker Zoya Akhtar. Zoya, I really enjoyed this film, and a film that I've enjoyed so much after a very, very long time.
Thank you.
So thank you for the film.
Thank you.
Tell me, what is it that attracted you to the theme? Because it is a film about class in India today, about this yawning inequality between the 1% who it seems has 22% of India's wealth. What is it that drew you to this theme?
I think at the onset, it was the music. It was the sound. I love hip hop. I listen to quite a bit of rap, but I've always engaged the American artists and and UK. But there's been rap and hip hop in the mainstream in India, but it's not the music that was personal to me. I've enjoyed it, I've danced to it, I like it when it's in a movie, but it's not personal to me. It's not something I will put on my iPod or my phone and listen to it at home, no. I was editing Dil Dhadakne Do, and my editor, who's also a musician, Anand Subaya, showed me this YouTube video of a track called Afat by a musician called Nazi, and he was 21 years old. And from Mumbai Satra, and he had an incredible flow. Like, he was completely legit. He had a flow, and he had a writing style that was really unique, and he was singing about his truth, his reality, his life, his environment.
So the music was the entry point.
It was the
Hip-hop
entry
was
point.
the entry
It
point,
was
the
the
starting
entry
point of
point.
telling this story, making this movie.
Yes.
So how did it become about class in India today?
Because that's what they're speaking about. Thematically, that's what they are mainly speaking about. That's what
the hip hop rap that you discovered the Dharavi boys doing originally.
I mean, they have many themes in their music, and they're all different artists, and they have. But like an overarching theme was this, and not just that. It's also a massive divide in our country. It's really naked in our city, and the beauty of art of any form is something that can cut through any divide. And this boy, who I would never ever have met in my life, there would be no space where our paths would have crossed, puts something out on an iPad which reaches me and suddenly connects me to him in a way that I haven't felt in a while.
Is the power of his art.
That is the power of art. That is it. It just cuts through any barrier, any wall, any caste, class, creed, anything. And where they come from and what is holding them back is actually this. So if you have to make a film about artists that are that authentic, you just have to be honest.
I heard you say somewhere that the people in Gully Boy are people who, in a sense, are enslaved or colonized by their own system.
Yeah.
So what did you mean by that?
I mean, I feel like we are not doing enough to enable people. They don't have enough opportunities. There aren't enough schools. There aren't enough there's not spaces for higher education. There are not enough job opportunities if you're educated. There's not enough room. There's no. You're not giving them opportunities. They want to come up. Today, all these kids, all these artists are from the internet generation. They know. They've never traveled. They hadn't traveled. They hadn't left the country, and they knew every artist. They knew their writing styles. They knew the difference between so and so's flow to that one's flow. They know everything about me. They've educated themselves through the internet. So they are seeing what is happening. They're recognizing the unfairness, the disparity, and they know what they can be. It's really in their face.
How do you react if I said that this is a deeply political film?
I think all films are deeply political,
Yeah.
if you ask me.
Yeah.
I think if you put anything out there, you're putting your consciousness out there.
Sure.
If you are, even if it's like an all-around entertainer, I will get your views on women. I will get your views on a community. I will see how you feel about homosexuality, how you treat animals, how you, you know, I can look at anybody's work and I can see their leanings,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I think all work is political, and people, they should realize that
Yeah.
they are putting their consciousness out there and people are reading them. So, yeah.
Given that I do totally
Yeah.
agree with what you just said, which is that every communication or every everything that you create suggests how you think of whatever you're
Yeah.
talking about. But having said that, is this a political film in the sense of a comment on the politics of our times even? Because here's the thing, to help support my case, your protagonist is a young Muslim boy. This is at a time when the Muslim community is perhaps feeling more vulnerable than they have in a long time, more insecure, more perhaps even disaffected, okay? You set it in a slum, so you're talking about poor people. You're talking about people who don't have the job opportunities which actually the government was supposed to have delivered. So in that sense, is there an overt political comment in this film? And that's very different from what you've done previously.
Yeah, see, it is more than my previous films, for sure.
More openly, no? Is it more
openly,
open about
more openly, but
what
that's
you
what
think?
the subject is.
Sure.
Wherever rap has come from the streets, it's come because it is political. They are talking about their socio-economic reality. That is the point of it. Nobody is telling their stories. And as Meera Nair says, if you don't tell your stories, who will? You know, they are speaking about their experience, how they are treated, how the system treats them. And so, yes, if you are making a film about artists that are political, that are socially aware, this is a genre called conscious rap.
Yeah.
So you cannot say, I'm not doing it. You are doing it. You're very aware of what you're doing. When I met Nez, the two artists that I kept going back to,
who were in a sense inspiration and source
yeah,
material.
yeah, they were source
loosely,
material.
yeah.
They were our touchstones, you know, because we gleaned a lot of details from their life, because you can't make a film so removed from you
Yeah,
without
yeah.
getting nuance and details, and you know, Rima and me really like to marinate in the space for a while. And we interviewed many people, but these were the two that just connected with us on a level that was, I don't know, there was something special with them, and it was Divine and it was Nazy, and we kept going back to them, and then Vivian Fernandez and Naved Sheikh, and they both members of what you call a minority community.
Yeah.
So it was very obvious that the lead character is going to be a member of the of a minority community to me, because because it kind of laces it. It is there as a subtext through the film. It's there. So I mean, there was no choice. It wasn't like a.
Like, it wasn't that MC Sher could have become the protagonist.
No, I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it that way.
I find that.
Though there are many MC shares in the business as well.
Sure,
you know.
sure.
But,
Yeah,
I didn't look at it that way. I mean, it wasn't even a conversation.
It was
With
so
Rima and
clear.
me. It was that clear.
so
It was
clear.
just talk. Also, having said that, you know, I've always had Muslim characters. So whether it was Ritik in Luck by Chance playing Zafar Khan, whether it was Imran, Farhan in
Yeah.
ZNMD,
Yeah.
Leila, Katrina in ZNMD, whether it was Farah in Dil Dhadakne Do, and now this, I've always had lead Muslim characters. So for me, it's not like, oh, I'm doing something amazing. That's my life.
Yeah.
It's.
But in the current political context, also, you know, you have used or remixed, or I don't know what the term is, but you have used snatches of the music, you know, the version with music, or the remixed version of that famous Kanhaiya Kumar, you know, former president of
Yeah, I know who he is.
JNU. Yeah, he's been on the show.
Yeah.
On this show. So the point is that when you use that famous speech, Azadi, and he talks about Azadi from Manuvadi, Azadi from Pujivadi, so capitalism, Brahminism, all of that. Is that something that you, where do you stand on what he represents? I'm saying the
thing
fact
is,
that you chose to use
I
that.
find it.
And there's such a strong political connotation
Of course,
to Kanhaiya's
but
speech.
it is not. Azadi is not Kanhaiya's.
Sure.
It's Kanhaiya is one of the people that has used it.
Yeah.
And it started with Kamla Bhasin,
Yeah.
who actually got it from Pakistan.
Yeah, yeah.
So and it was used for women's rights. So why can't we say it's Kamla Bhasin's?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's people are using it all over. They've used it for women's rights. They've used it against patriarchy. They've used it against casteism. They've used it against what you call a military rule. They've used it. I mean, it is. It's Azadi is a word. It's a very strong word. It means freedom. It is mine as much as it is yours, as much as it is Kanhaiya's or Kamla Bhasin's.
I feel that the film is quite political in the choices that you make, and then some people say that it's not political enough. Okay, in fact, that you have used, not you've used, that the individual is foregrounded, and aspiration and your ability to chase your dreams will take you into a different class category, maybe, right? Or help you better your prospects and your fortunes, or help you achieve what you want to do or can do. In a country like India, do you think that that is an easy route to take? That promise of an individual reaching out for himself or herself, is that the way things would work for most people, you think?
No, I don't think it's so black and white.
Yeah.
Firstly, I don't think it's about just saying, oh, I'm going to follow my dream and make it. That's not what really the film's about. The film's about art transcending class.
Sure.
And that it does. And that it'll continue to do. So I think that is actually what it's about. That if you strike a chord as an artist, it melts a lot of things away. And that is the truth of it. And that is what the film is about. It's not just about only follow your dream. When you are making a film, you want to speak to the maximum people. You want people to come in there and you want them to take something away.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that say this is very political. There are people that say this is not very political. I mean, make your own movies. Bottom line. This is my film. This is what I want to say. And I've said it, and it's connected. And what I want to connect, what I want to say to people, I want them to see the narrative of how we treat people very intimate in our lives. I spend that many hours with my driver in a car, and I pick up the phone and say, no, I'm alone. Because to me, that person is invisible. To me, that is the larger narrative.
And that is the visually very
The
beautifully
larger
depicted in that
narrative is
song.
you could be fed many things. The point is you as a class are being contained and kept there. That is what I want to touch. And I want people to sense when they're in the cinema hall. If I cloud this with this also, that also, this also, they're not going to feel part of the whole, you know. And that's my decision as a filmmaker. And that's the point. The point is that you put how you want to tell that tale and what you want to move and what you want to shift and how you want to affect somebody comes through. Because you have to strip away that stuff and go to the humanity of it. Only then will it permeate. You know, if you stand there screaming with a flag, you're not going to move people.
Sure.
And that's what I believe, but somebody else can believe something else.
Yeah.
And they are free to make a movie. I just want people to stop telling me what to make.
Okay, tell me, why is it that you chose Javed Akhtar to write the lyrics for Murad, your protagonist?
I chose him to write the poems because I wanted...
the poems, the stuff that he was, he
He's
rapped.
not written all the lyrics. He's written the poems. He's
Okay.
written all the poems.
Yeah.
So because the character is somebody who is a poet and he likes hip hop music, but he hasn't joined those dots.
Yeah.
So I wanted his voice to be different from an MC Shaves, to be different from, say, Shakespeare, to be different from another artist.
Yeah.
He had to have a very distinct flavor. There is also when he had to convert that poem into the rap track, which became Duri, that became a collaboration of my dad and Divine, which I think was just divine, actually. So yeah, I mean, it was just, I needed another voice, and then I needed that to convert to, that thought to convert to rap, to kind of change the lingo and put it into another...
I found it interesting as a cinema watcher, you know, how the angry young man that Javed Akhtar and his partner Salim Khan gave voice to for such a long time. Suddenly, I saw the angry young man again, but circa 2019 in a very different way, and yet in essence, angry, but a gentle anger almost, perhaps, and even an angry young gentleman instead of an angry young man. How do you react to my feedback?
I think the need of the hour then was maybe a different kind of fire.
It's
And
different.
I think, yeah,
You
of
agree
course,
it's
it is.
different.
I mean, like Salim Uncle and my dad's work was like, I think really, however, it was larger than life, and they kind of changed the whole, the male narrative on a level on screen. But it was very rooted, and it was very socio-political, and there was a realness and a authenticity to the conflicts that he was facing. And I think the need of that hour was to get up and take the system in your hand in that sense. And I think the need of the hour right now is something else.
Which is?
I think people need to talk more. I think people need to communicate more. I think people need to have more nuanced conversations. I think people need to stop being shouted down. And I think there needs to be more openness and communication. And if you're asking me, more art.
The more art, yeah. And also, is it also got to do with not just what is the need of the hour, that's of course the large part of it, but also Javed Akhtar's experiences, to discovery of his art, and your experiences and your context in the discovery of yours. Is that
Of
also
course,
a
of
factor?
course. I mean,
that's a given.
My childhood and upbringing was worlds away from his. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So tell me, one thing that that I noticed is that there were two sort of plot tension points. I don't know. I hope a lot of people have seen this movie. I know a lot of people who have, so I'm going ahead with this, and which is that there is Murad sort of has this episode of infidelity, okay, and his final outcome in the competition, he's not competing with MC Sher. He sort of is, in a way, he's leagues apart. He clears things easier. What I'm trying to get at is that would there have been more dramatic tension? And now I'm talking about craft. If let's say Murad had to take on MC Sher in the final, because as a viewer, you're invested in both and you love both the characters. And the infidelity story or the subplot or the track, it all sort of seemed resolved quite easily for Murad. How do you react to this observation?
I feel when you're talking to 22-year-olds, they resolve things quite easily.
That's very interesting to hear.
They at the end of the day, I mean, they've grown up together, these two characters.
Yeah.
They can't see life without each other. They're friends. And of course, she's possessive, but that comes with its own history and its own story.
Sure.
And he screwed up, and it just happened, and it was there, and he went with it, and it's human. And I think he didn't, like the way we look at it is he didn't know how to face her because he has lied, and now he doesn't want to go there or call her because he knows he has to tell her the truth. So even when he's in the scene with Moin is like, what are you planning to do? Just avoid her forever because you can't tell her the truth, And when he says, I did this and I am sorry, and she's a friend and it just happened, he's saying the truth, and she's not going to dump the love of her life. She'll handle it in a particular way and deal with him differently.
Is this a generational thing? I find it very interesting that you said, when you talk to 22-year-olds, you have to resolve things differently.
I mean, of course.
It is a generational thing.
Because
do you think we were, if I can say we, as opposed to their generation, those characters, do you think we are more stuck on some of these things?
I mean, I don't know about you, but like I'm talking about most people I know that have a genuine, solid relationship have really not, whether a man stepped out or a woman stepped out and it's like a stray incident, they don't end things. I mean, do you know people that have just walked out for one incident?
No, not really.
Exactly. That answers your question.
So it's not a generational thing.
I mean,
in
no,
solid relationships.
It's a solid relationship. You can't just make everything in one stroke. You know?
I know.
It's like, oh, they're 22, so that's no.
Yeah.
It's all part of it. I mean, because he's young, He would go, I mean, a girl like Sky would never speak to him. You know, he is enamored. It is magical.
Sure.
It is different. You know, and she is also coming from his space, and she's also...
Yeah, no, I don't have an observation as to what happened, but the way it was resolved is where I was curious.
Resolved in the sense like...
You know, like it's accepted quite, the moving on is, it doesn't take too long, and getting back on track doesn't take too long. Also, MC Sher and he never go into direct competition. Is that something you felt that you needed to do to, you know, it would be hard on us as viewers to see two people you love
You know,
take on
I just...
each other?
you know, for me, MC Sher and Reema actually, he is that person who we've had in our lives, who thinks the work is bigger than your individual success. And we wanted it to be that character. You know, where hip hop means more to him than whether he wins or Murad. You know, if you're good, you should win. And he's that lion, you know, he's a lion heart. And he's that character, and you do meet them. And it's wonderful when you meet people like that. You know, you'll meet people and they're so happy for your success, and you can sense it because they like the fact that your film is out there in the world.
Yeah.
Even if they don't particularly like you or they're your best friend, they like the fact that you made this movie and it's out there in the world, and they are happy about that. That to me is very special. And that to me is something to aspire to be.
And which is what MC Sher
Yes,
then,
which
sort of symbolizes.
yes, which for us. And that is what I feel you want to be, which is why you like him. Now, if I had put him into that, you know, that would have been the, I don't know, it's a cheap shot.
Yeah.
You know, put it like to create
Yeah.
drama. That's not what I wanted out of it.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, Zoya, let's talk quickly, briefly about Ranveer Singh. You managed to tap into this really, I don't know what the word for it is, but it's just such an appealing side to him, and you've tapped into it before. In the previous film, you all did Dil Dhadakne Do. So, how do you do that? Is that something that you see, or is it just him acting to the character you've created,
I've
rising to
known
that?
him so long. It's nothing that you have. I mean, he's just a very. He's very smart.
Yeah.
He's a very, very smart guy, you know, and he's a very sensitive person, and he's somebody that gets it immediately, you know. He understands subtext, he understands internalizing, because he is that guy. He gets it, he knows what he's doing. And giving him, he's also a really good actor, and there are very few people that can react to things without speaking in a way that's, you know, you get it, you just get what he's feeling, and he's able to transmit a very internal emotion very well. And I don't know, I mean, he's read both my scripts, he's liked both of them. And
So does Hrithik have competition where Zoya is concerned?
no, Hrithik is Hrithik. Hrithik is Hrithik.
We know how much you like him and admire.
Yeah, he's Hrithik. Yeah.
Alia?
Alia is super special. She's just super special. I hope every...
She lights it up.
Yeah, I hope every director gets a chance to work with her, because it's like, it's a feeling of like, it can be like this also with Alia. Because
for a filmmaker, writer
she's
to
a
say this
pro,
about an actor.
She's just in the moment, she's just so respectful of her co-actors. She's just so, she's just a nice person. She's just nice. And she's funny. So it's not even like she's nice but boring. She's a laugh. She's really fun to have around.
There's a lot of kindness in your film, no? In Gully Boy?
I think it's a...
Where is that coming from? Like,
it's coming from my need for it, like around.
Yeah.
I think people just need to be kinder to each other and to, I mean, it's just...
it's just been hard,
It's hard.
For us in the...
For anyone. Like, I'm not even on most social media.
Yeah.
You know, my friends, the kind of stuff they get told, and the way they're abused, and you're just like, who's doing this? You're sitting in your home and saying mean things to people you don't know. Where's this coming from? You know, so I feel there's a sense of, you just need a little kindness out there.
I like the fact that you said it's coming from my need for more kindness
Yeah,
around us.
in the world, yeah.
Zoya, last year, we saw this sort of organic social media-led it exploded in our face, the Me Too movement, and not surprisingly, it started in the film business, and we've seen a reaction to it from the Producers Guild, from the entertainment industry. How has that affected the dynamic in the gender equation in the business, in showbiz, and how do you deal with the work of people who've been called out or tainted, and how do you reassess how you look at their work?
I mean, I don't even go back to look at my own work, so I'm really not going back to look at their work. Let's just be real. I don't even watch my own films once I'm done with it. There's too much in the world to see. I think it's been very good. To have this come out, to have this conversation open, to have people suddenly become very aware of behavior that can be appropriate or inappropriate. Of course, the larger things, you know that this was out of line and you shouldn't be doing this. But it's the little stuff. It's the everyday stuff, It's that everyday sexism that just goes unchecked, that gives you a feeling of like, is that okay? Or must be okay. That kind of thing. I think that being opened up and that those details being talked about makes the bigger stuff so unimaginable immediately, So I think it's very good. I think production houses are getting responsible about how they treat women in their offices, on their sets. You can't mess around. And I think men, like a couple of things have happened. I think there's been a formation of a girls' club, which was very needed. Very, very needed. I think that's come into front. I think women got up and, took up for each other.
Yeah.
And I think that was amazing to happen. And I hope that never stops. I think there was a shifting of shame. Suddenly, you didn't feel embarrassed, and it became the guy's problem. And I think that's something that shouldn't stop either.
That shifting of shame, and I think what I found remarkable was the excruciating detail of the act, or the crime in some cases. And you just read it, and then you can't unread what you've read, So you've shifted the shame, and nobody can turn their eyes away from that.
So I
either.
hope more women realize that they don't need to be embarrassed. It's like, if someone robs you or someone, comes in and snatches your purse.
Be quiet about it.
Yeah, it's literally like it's assault.
Yeah.
It's assault, and it's don't be embarrassed about it. Just say it. And I think that has really helped, and I think there is an awareness, and the conversation has started, and I don't think you can't take that back. It's only gonna go ahead.
When you look at your body of work so far, how are you looking
at my little body?
Your little body of work, but what a lovely body of work when you're looking at it, and when you see it from the perch of just the Gully Boy release. How are you assessing where you're coming, both in terms of craft and in terms of what you're saying, the stories you're putting out?
I want to tell all kinds of stories.
Yeah.
I want to work in many genres that I like watching and that appeal to me. I want to eventually, like what I want is to be able to look at a movie and be like, that's perfect, my movie.
Yeah.
I want to look at my movie and be like, I wouldn't change a
one thing.
Yeah.
And that's now, currently, in what percentage of things you want to change?
Depends. Different films, different things.
Gully Boy, since we're talking about
I'll never tell you what I would never tell you. But if I have to tell you, the film I've come closest to.
Finding perfect?
That not perfect, but finding the closest that, okay, I set out to do this and I did this, was Lust Stories.
Okay.
The closest I came to it.
Yeah.
But that is what I want. I want to do all kinds of stories. I want to work all over the globe eventually.
Yeah.
But I want, for my personal growth, I want that one film that I can look at and be like,
not one
I
thing.
won't change a thing.
But you talked about working all over the globe. You've just released Made in Heaven, which is going to go all over the globe on OTT, on video streaming, on Amazon Prime, on video streaming. Is it like greatly unshackling or liberating what video streaming is offering you as a storyteller? In terms of the fact that it's freer, the fact that it gives you a global audience and all of that?
It's very different. There are different things that come with different mediums and formats. Of course. See, the thing is, you have you have ideas as a storyteller that will lend itself to a short film. You have ideas that you want to make features with, and you want that mass theatrical release, and you want that, and then there are ideas that are just good for a long format. Characters that need to develop, sagas, episodic content, which on a level Made in Heaven is. So you can take an idea now and you can be like, I can do this with it, or that with it, or that with it. So your options have opened up, and that's amazing. Then you have a platform that works with you, that is global, that's in 22 countries and territories together.
So your stuff is available
not
to
22,
people.
200, huh?
Yeah. So your
Your stuff
stories
is
are available to people.
So you will at some point start finding new audiences. You will find new audiences.
That's exciting.
Yeah, of course it's exciting. You don't have to deal with censorship beyond a point. Not that you can go crazy. You'll obviously, I mean, we are responsible filmmakers, so you will definitely do what is honest to the story and makes the person feel what they need to feel for that particular situation. You don't have the pressure of a box office. You don't have the what was your opening weekend like, and this is something that's parked there, and somebody can find it 3 years later. That's the beauty.
And the budgets are good, so it's not as if scrounging around to do something you really want to do.
It's just another place for me to do what I love doing. So it's amazing.
So it's a good time and place
It's
to
a
be
very
Zoya
good
Akhtar.
time. Yeah, it's a very good time.
Zoya, thank you very
Thank
much as
you.
usual for talking to me. But you have to leave us with a piece of music that you're playing on a loop these days.
What am I listening to on a loop these days is the track from Sunflower from Spider-Verse. Also, there's this track that's kind of been jazzed up. It's an old song called Babuji Dheere Chalna. It's been jazzed up by the bartender, Mikey McCleary. I've been listening to that as well.
Lovely. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.